Music does a lot of things for a lot of people. It's transporting for sure. It can take you right back, years back, to the very moment certain things happened in your life. It's uplifting, it's encouraging, it's strengthening. That was a quote from the legendary Aretha Franklin.
Welcome to Gal's Guide to the Galaxy. Your host, Lisa Leo, leads a roundtable in the universe to discuss women in music, literature, science, and more. Warning, time travel is possible.
Hello, and welcome to the show. This is episode 1, Music and Gals Who Rock. And I think it's safe to say that music plays a significant role in most of our lives. For me, there's not a day that goes by where I don't enjoy music. It's one of the most versatile creations that we have. There's countless genres that can stir up emotions, transport us to old memories, motivate us, and sometimes just get us on our feet and dancing. It's all around us, too. In our homes, cars, restaurants, elevators, and of course, movies, which I believe would be pretty boring without a great soundtrack. And so much of it has been created and performed by incredible women. And that's what we're talking about today. But first, I'd like to welcome my very special guests. First up, you may recognize her voice from the Your Gal Friday podcast. It's Dr. Leah Leach. Hi, Leah.
Hello, hello.
How are you? Welcome to the show.
I'm good. I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome. Very excited for our very first show. So now we're going to be talking about music today. Let me gauge what's your musical experience, your knowledge in this topic.
I used to be able to play piano and drums. The skills have left me. So I have appreciation for people who can do it, but I don't think I can anymore.
Yeah.
My brother still can. My brother is an excellent guitar player, and I do a request line, basically. But I would have to say, I love music. It gets me through the day. It's a touchstone, and it's fuel for me.
Oh, awesome. That I couldn't have worded that any better.
Oh.
Leah, do you remember the first album you ever bought?
I actually do, because I saved money for it.
Nice.
It was Madonna's True Blue.
Ah, perfect.
On LP.
Nice.
Because, I'm old.
Hey, no one's judging. They say LPs are the best way to go, right? Best quality?
Sure, until they scratch.
Yeah, right. All right, and up next, another familiar voice from Your Gal Friday, it's Miss Phoebe Frear. Hi, Phoebe.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going awesome. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So tell us about your musical background, any knowledge, instruments you may have played.
Well, in 4th and 5th grade, I played the clarinet, but that's kind of as far as my instrument playing has gone. I played the piano a little bit, but it's like just enough to kind of know how to pick it up and plunk some keys and play some notes. But in high school, I started in a local choir because I was homeschooled, and so I joined a Williamsport Civic Chorus, and I've been in the chorus basically ever since, so it's been like 7 years or something like that. I don't know. And I still like to sing karaoke every week, which is just a weird side thing.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy singing, like picking songs that people wouldn't expect somebody like me to sing, so it makes it a lot of fun. I really love music. My brother plays the bass, and he's also learning how to play the stand-up bass, so that's really cool.
Very cool.
And I also make films, so music is a huge part of my job and what I do, but I'm not like a talented musician, but having talented musicians around me is very beneficial because I don't have the eye or the ear for making a film with compelling music, but as soon as I get somebody who knows what they're doing in there, it's like, oh, this went from I mean, almost mediocre to a completed project and something that is worth watching. So musicians and music means a lot to me, not just personally, but professionally.
Right. Yeah, it's a big part of your art.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Wonderful. All right. And last but certainly not least is Miss Bonnie Fillenwarth. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Awesome. So tell us about your experience with music.
I listened to it. I dabbled in guitar in high school, early college. Listened to mostly rock music. I grew up on oldies and Queen.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
The first album I bought, I had a cassette player that finally ate the last cassette. I was done with it. I was so mad. So I went out and I bought TLC's Crazy Sexy Cool on CD. And I was so excited.
Good one.
Bonnie, I think you and I are going to be great friends. Yep. So just to let everybody know, as far as my background with music, my mom's family is very musical. My grandfather actually played bass all of his life, and that's not the guitar. That's the stand-up bass as well.
Hey.
And he was in a polka band, and
Sweet.
yeah, they toured a lot of the northeast part of the U.S., and my two uncles were very big with guitar and drums. They still are. And I think my mom may have dabbled a little bit with drums at one point. I can't remember. I don't think there's anything cooler than a female drummer.
Yes.
I can watch a woman play the drums all day.
Meg White. Just
but
saying.
you know, my mom raised me on VH1 and MTV, and there was never any like music that was off limits or inappropriate. She was very open to letting me explore music. As far as like the first album that I ever bought, I know that my mom bought me a lot of cassettes, but in all fairness, by the time I was ready to buy, it was a CD, and it was TLC Crazy Sexy Cool.
Yeah!
So
cool.
Bonnie, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
There you go. And yeah, that kind of just, you know, I was obsessed with Waterfalls when that song came out. So that was a very momentous occasion to have that whole album. And now as an adult, my in-laws are a very musical family as well. My father-in-law plays guitar beautifully. He has a beautiful singing voice, and there's always a lot of music going on in the house as well. My mother-in-law sings a lot in church choirs, things like that. So it's kind of always been in my life. I only played violin myself for a short time in middle school, and I just didn't keep up with it. I kind of wish I did, but I just love music. And so I'm really excited for us to dive into today's episode because we have a lot of fun articles to cover.
Yes.
So let's just jump right in. I want to first mention to everyone that all the articles we're going to discuss today, you can find on the Gal's Guide to the Galaxy website, which is at galsguide.org. First up, we are going to talk about the 31 Gal-powered songs. Now, this is one that I believe, Leah and Phoebe, you compiled this list. Is that correct?
That one was just me.
Yeah, that was
But I
just
did
you.
throw a lot of them at Phoebe.
Okay. So I'm just curious. Was the 31 intentional, or did that just happen to be the amount you came up with?
It was 31 for the 31 days of July.
Ah, I should have
So you
known.
could have one song every day, or you could have a 2-hour playlist.
That's so smart. She always thinks these things
Perfect.
through.
See, my mind goes to ice cream, and I was thinking Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors.
Baskin Robbins always finds out.
Well, it is a phenomenal compilation. I love it. I think you did a great job with it.
Yay!
And I should also mention to everyone that the entire playlist of all these songs is available on our YouTube channel. So feel free to go check that out, and you guys can just, you know, rock and roll with the whole selection. So I want to go around and kind of get everybody's feel on this article, because there was a lot of really great songs and all the videos to go along with them. Let's start with Phoebe. What was
Sure.
your favorite on this list?
Well, my personal favorite on this list was Kelly Clarkson's Stronger. 'Cause I would listen to that all the time to kind of like help me get in the right mindset of like, okay, I can do this, you know. So that song's like really close to me personally.
Mm-hmm. Very motivating.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And upbeat, which makes it all the better.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And then her lyrics are so easy to memorize. It's like, okay, and then it gives you a positive like thinking in your head, so you're not like constantly revolving negative thoughts in your head. So it's yeah, it's definitely a favorite of mine in general anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Kelly Clarkson also has that kind of naturally very positive personality.
Oh yeah.
I think that kind of makes it feel more genuine, doesn't
Definitely,
it?
most definitely.
Yeah.
Also, if I remember right, that song was actually given to other artists
What?
first.
Oh.
I know for a fact Christina Aguilera passed on it.
Wow.
And I can't remember who the other one was that passed on it before
Wow.
Christina did. But I knew it was the third time
Yeah,
the charm.
no, Kelly is perfect for that song, so I'm not even mad.
Mhm.
Interesting. So, Phoebe, was there any songs that you would have liked to have added to this list?
So I kind of have a bunch. So I'm just gonna
Go for it.
kind of shoot them off for you. So there's another Kelly Clarkson song that I really love. It's called "Catching My Breath." That's really good. I thought it was really cool to find songs that weren't just girls talking about boys. So that was really fun to think about because it's like, wait, there's actually like they do exist, believe it or not.
Yes.
Right.
Another song that's super motivating to me is Katy Perry's "Part of Me." That one's really awesome. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that's a
Like
good
that
one.
song made me almost want to join the army because it's like, no, that would be kind of like I can if I want to kind of thing. Taylor Swift "Shake It Off."
That was a tempting
Yeah,
one to get
it's
on
super
there.
tempting. And then another Taylor Swift one is "Place in This World," which was on her first album, and it's not as popular because it's still kind of her country stuff. But that one I listened to all the time in high school because it's another one of those like it's actually the first song that I heard that I actually could 100% relate to. Because usually songs were like, I did cyber school growing up. So the typical high school experiences I did not have. So having like movies or songs or TV shows to relate to was very difficult for me. But this song was like the first thing. I was like, no, I can actually relate to this, and it was really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is important to be able to relate to the lyrics.
Absolutely.
It really is. Are there any songs on the list or artists where you were like, I'm not really familiar with this person, I'd like to maybe discover more of their music?
There was a few of them, actually. I haven't heard a lot from Ethel Merman, so that would be really cool. Nina Simone, there's actually quite a bit on this list that I'm like, I should really look more into this.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
I love Nina. Oh, everybody needs to experience Nina
Oh,
at some
absolutely.
point. Usually depression.
Yeah, yeah. So, Leah, how about you? What was your favorite on the list?
It's really tough when you create the list.
I know.
Oh, yeah,
I
no,
know.
that makes sense.
I might have given it away because the very first song listed is my favorite song. It was Fight Song by Rachel Platten.
Nice. Awesome. That song's been like the big champion song for a while now. We hear it
That's
all
Yes.
the time.
That's very true. Yeah.
That one always is in my repeat list, especially when I'm having a rough day. Take Back My Life song, if I only had one match. It's like it always gets me right back into the mood of do something, make a difference, put ripples out there, and it's worth
Yes.
it.
Absolutely.
So, since you created the list, I'm not going to ask you what song is missing. I'm going to ask
You know what? I actually have
what
two.
song were you
There
like
are two that are.
that you didn't get to add to the list? Like, where were you like, oh,
Oh, okay. I try not to repeat artists, so that was tough.
yes.
So Gaga was really hard to choose
I love
between.
Gaga.
I wanted Edge of Glory
Yes.
really bad.
That's a great one.
Katy Perry was impossible to choose one. So that was hard. But another one I really wanted to add, which was kind of more of a relationship song, not so much an empowerment song, but it's by Katie Nash, and it's called Dickhead, and it's a hilarious song, and it gets me through many a rough day, especially trollers.
Oh, I love that.
So I love that song, but it really didn't fit on the list.
Well, see, at least we get to discover some new stuff because now I have to check that one out.
It's beautiful.
Awesome. Bonnie, how about you? What was your favorite?
Oh goodness! Well, I was raised on the oldies, so I really like the "I Will Survive"
Yes.
and the Aretha Franklin "Respect." But with that, it was actually written for a man first, and that's completely different if a man sings it.
Yeah. Definitely not the tone you really want to go for.
Nah.
Oh.
It was Otis Redding, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It immediately feels icky to me to picture a man singing that song.
Yeah.
It is.
It's like you always have respect. You don't need anymore.
No, that's just kind of wrong.
She gives it so much power and flavor and
Mm.
undertones. It's beautiful.
Yep, absolutely. How about any songs that you would have liked to have seen on the list?
Spice Girls.
Oh,
Girl
yeah.
power.
That is a good
Yes.
point.
I had a hard time trying to find like a particularly moving one, but like I mean, you got to go with Wannabe.
Yeah.
Yes,
No, you're
of course.
right.
It's their debut album. It's the what was it?
I think it was just called Spice, right? And then the second album was Spice World.
Yeah, but that
I
their
know
first
nothing.
one,
I know nothing
the-
about Spice Girls.
You fooled me.
I just
Oh
like
my
know their
goodness.
album names off the top of my head. So
Oh no, my friends and I dressed up. I was Mel B, I was Sporty Spice.
Oh my god.
So we're gonna have to see
No, but
photos, right? We're gonna have to see
Oh,
those at
I'm
some
not
point.
sure.
Show notes.
Show notes.
It was before smartphones.
Galsguide.org.
Show
Check
your
the show
work.
notes. So, yeah, Bonnie, I am like right there with you all the way on that. I have to say, like, when I looked through the list, the song that really stood out to me the most was No Doubt Like a Girl.
Yeah.
And honestly, more than anything, it's just the nostalgia of that song. I can remember the first time I saw it on MTV. And I was like, what is this? Who is this chick with this awesome hairdo and just rocking out in the girls' bathroom, and all the boys are in the boys' bathroom partying, and it was and the lyrics, I was a little young to appreciate them, but the older I got, the more I realized how relevant they were. Just the frustration of being treated like, oh, you're a little weak little girl, and just, being condescended, basically. And Gwen Stefani is, there's no one like her. No one has a voice like her. You can recognize her voice instantly anywhere. And and there's something to be said for, a female-led band like that. She carried the weight, which I'm sure that also created some of the tension in that band. But
it sometimes does.
Yeah, but I loved that song, and that was when I was like, I have to get Tragic Kingdom, which is to this day still one of my favorite albums, start to finish, which is rare. It's rare to find an album that every song is a hit to you. You just love them all.
It was a solid album.
Yeah, it really was. So that was definitely my favorite on the list. I was thinking about songs that I would want to add to the list, and I have a couple as well.
Do it.
The first one I thought about was Natasha Bedingfield's Unwritten.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
that is a
oh
great
my
song.
gosh. Yes. Oh, I can't even count how many times I've heard that song. Like,
Yeah, and I'll
love
be
that
honest,
song.
it's not like the most favorite song of mine, but I thought it was the most appropriate in terms of the lyrics and the meaning for
Yeah,
that,
totally.
gal empowerment, just get you motivated and pumped, for whatever it is you're dealing with.
yeah.
I thought it was perfect for the list. But there's a couple other ones. I have to go back to TLC because they're pretty much one of my
Do it.
favorites ever. And I picked Unpretty.
That's a good one.
And it's not so much that it's this big, empowering, power ballad kind of song, but it has a very important meaning. And
yeah, it's a reflection song.
yeah, and I think when you listen to the lyrics, they're timeless. This song, I can't believe it's almost 20 years old already. Ugh,
Right.
but
We're old.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, sorry.
But it's timeless. And the thing is, if you were
Yes.
listening to this when you were younger and you have a daughter now that's, young or a preteen or a teenager, you could play this for her and it's still going to have meaning to it.
Yeah, she's still going to be able to connect to it.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that you're supposed to be focusing on like the things you don't like about yourself from the outside, you could change those if you really need to. But you have to be happy with who you are as a person. I think there's nothing more powerful than that. And TLC are just kind of notorious for having very positive, important messages in their songs while still being really ridiculously catchy. So I have to mention them. And there's another group that I want to mention, All Saints. They're kind of the lesser known Spice Girls. And
gotcha.
very much like Bonnie was saying, like, you had Spice Girls in mind, maybe not necessarily a specific song. I feel that way about All Saints too. I couldn't really put my finger on the perfect empowerment song, but as a group, they are just these classy, women that they've never been the type to. I mean, you could go online and Google them right now. They don't, dress super skimpy. Most of the time they're wearing suits. They just look so classy. They're very strong, elegant women, and they sing beautifully and their songs are really catchy. And I don't think they ever made it big enough in America. They're huge over in, England. That's where they're from.
Gotcha.
But I would recommend them if anyone wants some nice pop girl band kind of music. They've got some beautiful stuff. And the other one I was thinking of, and I'm sorry, guys, I kind of warned you, I had a couple here.
Oh, you're good. There's going to need to be a volume 2.
The other one I was thinking of, again, it's not an empowerment song as much as it's a female telling the guy, like, listen, it's Sierra and it's called Like a Boy. It is a very, very good song. The video is awesome. If you go out and check out the video, she basically is playing both genders in the video. So she's dressed up as the guy. She's also dressed up as the girl. And it's this whole thing about what if we reversed roles? What if, what if you put up with everything I put up with? And it's just, it's the kind of video that you watch and you're like, I want to dance to this. Honestly, that video has made me want to be a backup dancer more than any other video. I always want to be a backup dancer in that video. I love it. So
perfect.
Like that's all I really want in life is to be a backup dancer for Sierra because she's incredible.
We all have life goals.
Yep. So that's what I'd have to say for the songs that are missing. As far as anyone on the list that I'd like to discover more of, I'd have to say Nina Simone.
Oh, she's fantastic.
I've heard a little bit about her, but I feel like I need to know more. I need to be able to know more so that I can appreciate her talent. And that's there's so many amazing women on this list, and all the research we've been doing for the show. It just made me realize like how little we probably really know about music.
Right.
You know?
Dun, dun, dun. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, there's always more to explore. So that's what I really hope that we can all take away from this.
Absolutely.
Oh, I will say, though, I got a kick out of the postmodern jukebox featuring Gunchild Carling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
I mean, she rickrolled us with bagpipes.
Yeah, she did.
Think about that.
That lady cracks me
right?
up.
And for everyone who hasn't gotten to check this article out yet, who's just scratching their head going, I don't know what you're talking about, you just have to watch it.
You really do. She plays like 15 different instruments.
It's unbelievable.
And rickrolls, yeah.
Absolutely incredible. All right. So let's move on to our next article. We did an article on the performances of Gals Who Rock. So we covered 3 different artists who have completely different styles. First, we talked about Joan Jett, who was considered the godmother of punk and queen of rock and roll. Tina Turner, who is, survivor and icon. I love Tina. And
Yes.
lastly, we talked about Sister Rosetta Tharpe, who is the inventor of rock and roll. And sneak peek, we're going to talk about her a little bit more in our next segment, our time travel segment. Let's just dive into these a little bit. I wanted to ask Leah and Phoebe, was this also a list that you both put together?
This is actually a
Yes.
relation to the Your Gal Friday episodes.
Yes.
So we're covering these 3 gals.
Right.
So we put this together so you could have the visuals to go along with the audio podcasts.
Excellent. Very
Correct.
well
Yep.
planned.
And these were also the ones that like Phoebe and I shared back and forth.
Nice.
Exactly. Yeah. So we basically with picking for Your Gal Friday, we're doing like little mini story arcs this season. So this is for Gals Who Rock. And so with picking the gals that we want to do, we've kind of had a habit of Leah picks one, I pick one, and then we kind of meet in the middle and discuss the third one, and that's kind of worked out really well for us. And mine was Joan Jett, hers was Sister Rosetta Tharpe, and then we discussed until we settled on Tina Turner.
It
Nice.
just felt meant to be.
Yeah, it really did. It really did.
I would imagine this had to be pretty challenging to narrow
Oh
down
my
this
gosh.
list.
Oh yeah.
We had a list of 50.
We did.
And then we had a list of
50.
20.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then we got it to 5.
Yeah. It was not
It was hard.
It was very difficult, yes. And then this is actually the story arc or subject rather that I got the most suggestions personally, because I just talk about our podcast to people, and I got like a million suggestions from my roommate, from my brother, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's so many ways we could go with this. Like, how do
My husband was very tuned in.
Right. It's like, oh my goodness.
Wow. So who were the 2 runner-ups?
Oh, shoot. Now I'm trying to remember. Well, we wanted to make sure we didn't replay, because Joan Jett was kind of punkish.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
So
yeah.
we took all the other punk candidates out of there.
Exactly, yeah.
The
The bass player who like was the studio musician, if I can remember her
Oh,
name.
yeah,
She
Carol
was
Kay.
one. Yeah, Carol Kane.
Carol Kay was one. Heart was another.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There it
Cyndi
is.
Lauper.
Those were it. That was it.
Janet Jackson and
Yep.
Aretha Franklin.
Yep.
Wow.
You got it. Wow, that was really
There
good.
they were.
Holy cow, I'm really impressed. Yeah.
Yes.
So it was Heart.
Those were the runner-ups.
Those were. Yes, they most certainly were. Heart was interesting because we were like, well, if we do Heart, then maybe we can do like a bunch of gals at once. So that one was like, I almost pushed for that. But then I heard Tina Turner's story and I was like, no, we gotta do Tina.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, she does have an incredible story. And
Yeah.
I think you put together a great list, and I think it was very bold to have to cut out Aretha and Janet Jackson.
It was so hard.
Wow.
Yeah,
I think I mentioned
it was-
Aretha in every single episode, though, is kind of like to make up for it.
Yeah.
But I think what this tells all of us is that's how many incredible female artists there
Correct.
are.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely.
It just
And-
goes to show there's so many to admire,
Yeah.
to discover, to learn more about. So
And
absolutely.
the interesting thing about Carol Kane was she was a studio musician and she worked for like a bunch of bands that we've all heard of, but we never heard her name. So that was like the interesting thing
Mhm.
about doing her, but it was like it kind of didn't fit with the rest of what we were doing. So it was cool to have like
Yeah.
a nice overview of This Is Rock, like between the 3 that we did end up choosing.
Yeah, Carol Kane is a studio musician for the Wrecking Crew. She
Mhm.
created the Mission Impossible riff.
Ooh.
Really?
The Sonny and Cher, as the beat goes on, that bass line, that's
Wow.
her. So you've heard her stuff, but you've
Oh,
never
yeah.
seen her face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's incredible. I had no idea.
She's sweet.
I love
Yeah,
that.
she's pretty cool.
So I just want to get a feel for what everybody's favorites were on this list. Bonnie, let's start with you. Who was your favorite of these 3 artists on this list?
Tina.
Nice. Nice.
The proud Mary. I mean, come on.
Those legs, right?
I know.
Just saying.
I know she's still alive. Is she still performing too?
Yeah.
Every now and again.
yeah.
Oh, I can't imagine her still going. Like,
in
she won a
heels
Presidential
too.
Medal of Freedom not too long ago. Or no, it was the Kennedy Center Honors.
Very appropriate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Phoebe, who was your favorite of the three?
I mean, I know Joan Jett was my pick, but I really fell in love with Sister Rosetta Tharpe, which we'll
Yeah.
get into in a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, her performance at the subway station was or the train station was super cool, and I really fell in love with her.
Yeah. It's something that I don't even think you see nowadays, that kind of
No.
performance.
Not at
Very
all.
unique. Yeah. Yeah. Leah, how about you?
Oh, it's Sister all the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love her.
She converted me.
So it looks like it's going to be a tie because I'm going with Bonnie and I'm saying Tina Turner.
Fair enough.
Wow. I'm so sorry, Joan.
And trust me, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, I mean, I almost feel like she's in her own category altogether.
I know, right?
She
But-
absolutely is. Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, I grew up on What's Love Got to Do with It. And
Oh yeah.
I
Proud Mary.
I think since I was the time I could stand on my parents' coffee table in the living room, I would, I don't know, my parents had a microphone because I don't know, music, whatever, in the house.
Yeah.
And I never got it to work, but I would stand on that coffee table and I would hold my mic and I would sing What's Love Got to Do with It. And I adored Tina and I still adore her. And as a child, I didn't know her story, and I don't think my parents were about to explain to me the tragedy she lived through. But now as an adult, I have such respect for her. And I mean, also, I'm sorry, anyone who can dance like that in heels.
I know, right?
It's incredible.
She's stunning.
She is an artist
she's
that
just
has
magical.
Yeah, she really is. And she has the longevity, but she also has stamina when she performs like no one I've ever seen. It's incredible.
And she sweats beautifully too.
Oh,
How
I
does she
know.
do that?
I know. It just
She like glistens.
it's annoying. It's just, she's
to be Tina Turner for a day.
Yeah. Yeah. She really is incredible, and it's hard not to adore her. I mean, her personal life, her career, everything. She's just a strong, empowered woman, and that's what we love.
Absolutely.
That's what we like around here.
Yep. So I know that was a little bit of a teaser. I think this leads perfectly into our time travel segment. We want to dive a little bit deeper into the story of a famous gal from history. And of course, our very first time travel gal is Sister Rosetta Tharpe.
Yay!
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I'm just trying to be a groupie.
No, this is what we do. If you ever listen to Your Gal Friday, we cheer a lot. Because every time we learn something new about these gals, we're really excited, and it's really contagious.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, before this article, I had no idea who she was. And
me neither. Don't worry, me neither.
I feel a little heartbroken that it took like active research, going out and Googling and reading all this stuff to discover her.
Exactly.
I mean, I think in
Agreed.
reality, she should be a household name, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Yeah, we completely agree with you. I had no idea before the show either. I was really embarrassed once I started research. I'm like, she's like my soul sister. Like, it's so fascinating to me because rock and roll is my favorite music genre, and I have a big heart for Black history. And going to gospel churches is my favorite church. Okay. And that's how Sister Rosetta Tharpe grew up, was starting in the gospel church. And she sang and played, and she invented rock and roll. And I'm like, this is my gal. This has me written all
three of your
over
favorite
it.
things.
And I didn't know about her.
That's incredible. So for those who aren't quite familiar with her, let me just give you a very brief bio on her. She's considered to be the godmother of rock and roll. She was born in 1915 in a small town in Arkansas, and she was already a musician when Elvis was just a toddler. She was a pioneer. Many artists today are inspired by the very artists that she inspired. Now, I mean, think about that for a moment. She came before Elvis, before Chuck Berry, before Johnny Cash, and her influence is felt today throughout so many genres of music. And of course, like most great artists, we never truly appreciate them until far too late. And that's the case with Sister Rosetta Tharpe. She was not inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame until early 2018, which is, it should be a crime. It's a shame, really.
Mm-hmm.
It really is, yeah.
And there's a quote from her that I really love, and I believe you both mentioned this on your Gal Friday as well.
Mhm.
That when she was getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it says that when people would ask her about her music, she would say, "Oh, these kids in rock and roll, that's just sped up rhythm and blues. I've been doing that forever."
Yep.
It's perfect.
And I loved
yeah,
that.
it sums
it's
it up
true.
perfectly.
I loved that so much.
Oh, yeah.
So for our audience, if you guys want to hear more about Sister Rosetta Tharpe, please check out episode 37 of Your Gal Friday, where Leah and Phoebe go into a much deeper history of her life and her accomplishments. I just finished listening to the episode today. I loved it. You guys did a great job. It was really well researched, and I learned a lot about her. Now, I'm curious, is there any fun trivia that you picked up along the way? Just maybe a little teaser for the episode you'd like to share with everyone?
I have one, and I actually can't remember if it's in the episode or not. But it'll give you a little teaser into the episode. It was after the 1964 England show, the one where she's on the train station. Bob Dylan actually said later in an interview, he said, "I'm sure there are a lot of young English guys who picked up an electric guitar after getting a look at her."
Oh, yeah.
So Bob Dylan was a major fan of her.
Wow. It's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Inspired a lot of people.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And no credit.
Yeah. I'm still floored that I never heard about her before this. So,
Right?
I thank both of you for bringing her into, my universe so I can
Right.
learn more about her. Bonnie, were you familiar with her at all?
I was not, and I feel like I was raised on oldies. We listened to, here it was Q95 all the time. Like, I grew up knowing, Temptations, Chuck Berry, Supremes,
Yeah.
like all those folks. Like when we were watching Guardians of the Galaxy, when the first one came up, I was dancing in the theater because I'm like, I know all these songs.
Yeah.
Right.
And my boyfriend was just staring at me like, how do you know this?
Because they're the best songs
and
in the
I
world.
didn't even know about her. Like, her stuff's never mentioned.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's absolutely tragic, I think. It's just so sad. I think it's obviously safe to say, though, we probably have a couple good reasons why she wasn't given the credit she deserved.
Unfortunately.
right.
Stating
I believe the
stating
reason number one is racism, and the second one is sexism.
Yep.
all that nasty stuff.
Oh,
And-
just
right.
that. Just that we're still dealing with in this world. And
Yeah.
people don't think
Yeah.
it's still a thing, but it's still a thing, unfortunately. So,
Yes. Yep. And I think for all of you out there who, like, this is your first time getting to discover her, go out and share her music. Share it with everybody.
yeah.
Go out on social media, spread her music around, because it's a story that needs to be told. She needs to be given the credit that she deserves. And, she's very, very deserving of this. And I think to your point, when you both were discussing on the show about the legacy that she left, I was thinking about this too, and I really agree that I think she just did music because it's what she loved. That was her passion. I don't think there was ever
Right.
any forethought into, my legacy and how I'm going to influence people. She just really genuinely was a natural. She loved performing, and she was a true musician and an innovator in every way.
absolutely.
Yeah, and she didn't have a PR department.
Whew. Yeah.
Yep.
It makes the difference.
Yeah, it really, really does.
So we got to be our PR department, basically.
Yeah,
That's
basically. I
right.
mean, we'll take it on. That's fine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's nice, though, to see that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame are finally, giving her
Yeah,
some credit.
finally.
And hopefully that can also spread her message a little bit more. I imagine they probably have a bigger reach than we do.
At the moment.
Just a little bit.
Being that this is episode 1 and all, but we're working on it.
Yeah, it's
Broken
okay.
dream.
We'll get there. It's fine.
But again, everybody, make sure to check out episode 37 of Your Gal Friday, and you can learn so much more about her. And that is why she is our time travel gal. on this episode. So moving on, our last article is one that I was doing some research on music therapy, just in general, music and in healing the soul, helping people through health issues, all that kind of stuff. And I found an article on CNN that was titled, "This is Your Brain on Music." And it's written by Elizabeth Landau. And I'm going to give you a little snippet of what the article was talking about. It basically explained that scientists are still trying to figure out what's going on in our brains when we listen to music and how it produces such potent effects on the psyche. Now, researchers published a meta-analysis of 400 studies in the journal Trends in Cognitive Sciences. And in one of them, researchers studied patients who were about to undergo surgery. The participants were randomly assigned to either listen to music or take anti-anxiety drugs. Scientists tracked the patients' ratings of their own anxiety as well as the levels of cortisol, which is a stress hormone. The patients who listened to music had less anxiety and lower cortisol than people who took drugs. Now, while more research is needed, it points toward a powerful medicinal use for music. One researcher said the promise here is that music is arguably less expensive than drugs, and it's easier on the body, and it doesn't have side effects.
Sweet.
I mean,
Wow.
what could be better than that? That's such a powerful thing. And also, I was looking up some quotes from, all our gal-powered women out there, and I found one from Mary J. Blige, who, wow, talk about another incredibly
that's
strong
another big name.
performer.
good.
I mean, No
Oh,
More
yeah.
Drama. No More Drama is one
Oh
of the
my
most
gosh.
incredible
So
videos.
good.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
so good. I'm sorry. I'm
Powerful.
freaking out because it's so good. Okay.
Yeah,
anyway,
and
continue,
I
please.
think I think she's highly underrated, and I don't think she
Oh, yeah.
gets talked about enough either. But she had a quote that I wanted to mention during this section about music therapy because I think it ties in really nicely. And she said, "Music makes us want to live. You don't know how many times people have told me that they'd been down and depressed and just wanted to die. But then a special song caught their ear, and that helped give them renewed strength. That's the power music has."
That's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Kind of gives you chills, doesn't it?
It does.
It does because it's so true.
Yeah. And it just got me thinking about how we use music in our life, how we use music as a form of therapy for ourselves, and how we incorporate it into our day-to-day or when we're having tough times or need motivation. So if everyone wants to kind of, talk about that a little bit. Leah, do you want to go first?
Yeah, actually, I use music as therapy quite a bit. I mean, I've had many situations of it working, but there's one example that I have that probably will sum it all up. So my husband enlisted, that's the word. My husband enlisted in the Army at September 11th. And
Wow.
the day that we had to drive him to base for him to be shipped to Iraq, on the way, a song came on called Build Me Up Buttercup. Old song. And he's like, "Man, this radio station plays this song a lot." And I didn't really think about it. I was just like, okay, it's just a cute little song. So we dropped him off, lots of tears, lots of sadness. We drive back at the exact same point. The song comes on again. Same point on the bridge where he mentioned they play the song a lot. While he was gone on his deployment, that song would come on the radio exactly when I needed it. Like exactly when I missed him or when it was a
Wow.
really tough day and I just wanted him around or I was scared to death he was still alive or not. And
Mhm.
Build Me Up Buttercup. And it's that song where it's like, why don't you call me like you said you would? And it was like the perfect song. And for some odd reason, that kind of crap happens with music all the time.
Yeah, it's so true though.
Yeah, Phoebe, I mean, do you have any experiences you'd like to share?
Yeah, so I didn't really realize in high school I was using music as a form of therapy. I actually listened to a lot of Linkin Park and other rock artists. Linkin Park, Skillet, Flyleaf, that kind of thing. So, when Chester committed suicide, who was the lead singer of Linkin Park, that hit me really hard because it was like
Yeah.
I felt directly impacted because he helped me. He helped me through those hard times.
Yes.
So I still wish that I could help him in return. So that really hit me hard, because his music was my therapy.
Yeah. No, that's I
get
can
that.
totally relate. I felt that way with Stone Temple Pilots when Scott
Oh, yeah,
Weiland
that's right.
died. And it's sad when you can see the people that you idolize falling apart. And
Right.
because a lot of times you kind of know the inevitable is going to happen. It's and I totally relate to what you're saying. I felt the same way. Do you find ways of using music just in like day to day, like for motivation and getting you through?
So I'm a runner. I'm not like a great runner, but I'm a runner. So I still listen to Linkin Park when I run. Also, when I'm editing films or when I'm at work, I can throw music on. Sometimes depending on what I'm editing, it'll get like I'll change the music to change the mood of what I need to be editing. But oftentimes when I'm in my head the most is when I'm sitting down at a desk doing work, and that could be editing, paperwork, whatever. So like I often change my playlist to like reflect my mood, or sometimes I try to observe what I want to listen to versus what I need to listen to, because sometimes it's hard for me to understand what turmoil's going on inside of me. So kind of as a self-reflection, I'll be like, okay, what music will I tolerate today? And that kind of reflects of what mood I'm actually in. And then I'll change it to what mood I need to be in.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it.
Yeah. I love that music has that ability to just be so versatile for us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And change our mood.
Yes. That's a huge one. Bonnie, how about you?
I use it a lot after breakups.
Ah, yes.
Oh, yeah. 100% yes.
But I think after last few ones, I've listened to a lot of Fleetwood Macs with Stevie Nicks with the Break the Chain, the Damn Your Love, Damn Your Lies. Ooh, I listen to that a lot.
Nice. I love that.
It's a good one. You should really check out Dickhead.
Yeah,
by Katie Nash.
I wrote it down.
Yeah, I think it's great that music can serve whatever purpose we need.
Absolutely, yeah.
If you're in a bad mood and you want to stay in a bad mood, you've got music for that. I listen to my straight up rock music for that, and if you're in a bad mood but you need to get out of it, you've got all these fabulous gal powered songs to listen to, to push you through and motivate you. And I mean, I can say in general, not that this is a gal specific group, but I'm a huge 311 fan.
Oh yeah.
I love 311, and I listen to their music probably more than anything else because there's such a variety and so much of it is very positive. It's positive music, but a lot of times it's hard-hitting rock, and I'm like, oh yeah, like you kind of feel that little bit of aggression, and it just feels so good to like just kind of go for a jog and like kind of get that out of your system. And then there's the happier, lighter music, and I like bands that have a lot of variety in their songs where you can kind of
me too.
put on one album and kind of get to work through all your feelings and kind of
take the roller coaster ride.
Yeah, kind of feel like you can almost close that chapter for the day, like, okay, I kind of worked through it. And they do that for me. But I will also say, going back to TLC and All Saints, those are the two, gal groups that really do that for me. And I think most of the time I'm listening to music all day. If I'm not listening to a podcast, I have music on, and I listen to, a lot of ambient instrumental type stuff when I need to focus. And then when I just need to like get motivated, there's those days when you just are dragging and you just cannot get going,
I've got like a dance movie playlist for that, for those days. Like all the dance songs from every dance movie that I love is just in a playlist.
Yeah. And the other thing I think about is, this is an obvious one, but with exercise, I remember a couple occasions when I forgot my music or my headphones and then I went to work out.
That's the hardest workout.
Is that not the most miserable experience? It
really is.
It's unbelievable how much music can be tied to not just emotions, but motion, huh? See what
Yeah.
I did
Oh,
there?
yeah.
I got a
I
pun.
see what you did there.
I got a
Oh,
pun
I
in.
dig I used to play Rolling Stones, is it 19th Nervous Breakdown? Because the beat to that was the exact same beat that I would run to.
Yes.
And so it
What?
would keep my rhythm.
Yep.
Mhm.
I would have Hamilton running through my head, the musical. Like I had
Yes.
memorized it by this point, so I didn't really need to listen to it and I didn't get to download it. But I would have Hamilton running through my head and it was the same pace that I was running and I'm like, all right, well,
Oh,
all right.
perfect.
Yeah.
This works.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm a big musical fan. So there's some of those times when you just like can't get out of your funk and it's like, well, what can I do to distract myself from it? I'll put on the West Side Story soundtrack and
Oh,
I will
yeah.
dance like
Ah.
I'm one of the Jets because that
Do it.
works. You know?
It really does.
And sometimes all you need is a distraction. Sometimes the
Right.
music doesn't have to have like a symbolic meaning. You don't have to necessarily relate to it. Sometimes it just
yeah.
needs to be the thing that gets you on your feet, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I do love the randomness of the radio because sometimes I'll be like, I don't even know what I'm feeling. Am I angry? Am I sad? Am I frustrated?
Mhm.
Right.
And I'll just kind of drive around and let the radio decide.
Totally.
And it's what songs I gravitate to are the songs that I need to hear at that moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it works.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, it's so incredible.
I leave things up to fate a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, music. I mean, just us talking about it has me like pumped and excited. I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to have to go put a new playlist together.
Yes.
And it's funny because I think over time we tend to start, we evolve, new music comes out, new artists come out, and we start to listen to
Mhm.
new stuff. And we tend to forget our oldies, our favorites. And sometimes they get put on the back burner. But I think this has been an opportunity to kind of rediscover our old favorites.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And remember who we were when they first came out.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So I'm excited about putting my new playlist together for exercising. So
Sweet.
and we got so many great gals to work with. So it's awesome.
We do.
All right. So before we wrap up, I want to ask one final question. This is a fun one. If you could only listen to one artist or band for the rest of your life, who would you choose? And it's got to be either a gal or a gal-led band. So let's start with Bonnie.
Oh man. Oh, if it wasn't a gal, it would be Queen. But for gals,
Fair.
lately I've been really into Melissa Oftamar. She's a bassist in the 90s. She played on Smashing Pumpkin. She was a bassist for them.
Yeah. Okay.
And she was with Courtney Love in, was it Hole?
Yeah, it was a whole
Yes,
after their bassist
whole.
died.
But she's been doing her own thing. She's kind of like artsy stuff, and she's Canadian, so you got a little bit. Some of the songs are in French.
Wow.
It's really cool.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
And then I
You
have
got me
not
there.
gotten sick of Meghan Trainor yet. I love it because it's kind of 50s. It's kind of maybe not female empowerment, but definitely like
Some of
body
them are, though.
positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I can still listen to All About the Bass anytime. I'm just like, you go, Megan, you shake that bass all the time.
I almost included her song No.
Yes.
What's my name?
No.
Almost.
Leah, how about you?
Well, it's Aretha Franklin.
Okay.
Because every answer needs to be Aretha Franklin to amend my karma. And I love her. She does everything. She does opera. She does rock and roll. She does gospel. She does soul. I love her. When I was pregnant with both of my girls, I listened to Madonna, Aretha Franklin, and Janis Joplin.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
awesome. She's hard to top. I mean, I'll give
She
you that.
really is.
She
But
really
you know
is.
what? Music is personal.
Yeah.
It's true.
So,
that is so
There's-
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's so hard to talk about music sometimes, because it's like, what if you judge me on who I like? Except for it's personal. Like, you don't have to like it as like the same way I do,
Exactly.
Right. And kind of to the point when we were talking about music therapy,
Yeah.
you might be in love with a totally different artist day to day. Depends on what
Totally.
you feel
Oh,
like.
that's so true. And
You know?
different people, like, for different people, rock would not relax them, but rock music instantly relaxes me. Like sometimes I cannot focus and think straight unless I'm playing rock music.
Right. Exactly. I mean, and for me, like there's days when I'd rather listen to Dolly Parton and the next day I'm listening to Coldplay. I mean,
Yep.
Right.
you know,
Yep.
there's no telling. And I think that's just what makes music so awesome is there's just so much to it. So Phoebe, who would you pick?
I think surprisingly it comes to Lady Gaga because
Nice.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, she's done a lot and she keeps doing more. And I think if I had to be like, oh, I'm only going to listen to one artist the rest of my life, she's going to continue doing different stuff all the time because she's not just a pop artist anymore. So I think I think I would be pretty happy with Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I think that's a great choice. I watched the documentary on her.
Yeah, I watched
Netflix.
half of it.
And
It's so good.
I mean, if you didn't already love her, you will fall in love with her after watching that.
Absolutely.
She's an incredibly dedicated performer.
And an artist.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
yeah.
really is.
I
Yeah,
fell in love with
absolutely.
her. I fell in love with her after I saw her play an acoustic show, and I'm like, she's a real singer and musician, and she's incredibly talented, and it's not just autocorrect for her voice or something like that. I was like, no,
Yeah,
this
she's
is
a real
she's
deal singer.
she's incredibly talented.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she writes her own stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, she is incredible. So when I was thinking about this, I was trying to think very practically about my boredom of having to listen to one person forever.
Good idea.
So I
Yes.
thought, okay, who do I really never get sick of? And I have to go with Madonna.
Yeah, I really thought about her too.
And the reasoning,
It's variance.
it's pretty simple. Almost every album, you know, as the decades go on, changes. Totally different
Yeah,
sound.
She reinvents.
And I think because of that, if I was stuck listening to only one person, at least I know I can go to Ray of Light and get a totally electronica sound, go back to like her 80s stuff and get the pop sound music and get
Totally,
kind of
yeah.
that, you know, pop country vibe she
Yeah.
had. There's so much to her music. She has a huge library of songs. They're all catchy. And you also get that you get the songs that are sad, you get the songs that are happy, you get the songs that are just straight dance songs, and she kind of encompasses all the moods that I might be in that I would need
Oh,
music for. And but I probably would listen to Ray of Light the most because that's honestly one of the most amazing albums ever.
That was a great album of hers.
I think to this day it's still her best album. I think my husband and I are both in love with that album. We listen to it quite often together because it's just it's unbelievable. It was like her Renaissance period, you know?
Yeah.
It was incredible.
The only one I would say is better is the Immaculate Collection
Yeah.
because it was greatest hits.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
not the same. It wasn't new material.
Yes. Well, I think that about wraps it up. I want to thank all of you for being here and sharing your stories today. It's been so much fun.
Yeah,
Really
you're
happy to
welcome.
have all of you. Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. So I just want everyone to kind of fill everybody in on where they can contact you. If you have any upcoming projects you'd like to mention. Phoebe, would you like to go first?
Sure. So I have a page, Phoebe Frear. But if you're going to look me up, I would rather you go to Your Gal Friday. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Podbean. I mean, anywhere you want podcasts to be. Me and Leah really enjoy doing the podcast. So if you'd like to look us up, we're Your Gal Friday or Gal's Guide to the Galaxy.
Excellent. How about you, Bonnie?
I'm all over the social media with Bonnie. It's FILLENWARTH. It's the longest last name in the world.
It's yours.
It's mine. I do, paintings of women throughout history, so I'm always got new girls popping up. Right now, I've got a Kickstarter campaign for a women's history calendar
Which is
for next
badassly
year.
awesome.
Very excited.
Wonderful.
Now I'm going to be looking you up.
I am a backer, and I highly suggest Everybody is.
I am doing that and checking out that Dickhead song after this. I have some homework to do.
We have
Katie
homework.
Nash is going to be emailing me and going, I love you.
Yes, I've just got dickhead written on my paper here, and it's pretty hilarious.
It's the randomest note ever.
Leah, how about you?
I'm easy to reach on Twitter. I am at Dr. Leah Leach, and that's Leach. But I would have to say, yeah, check out your gal Frear. We're doing Gals Who Rock, and it's so much fun.
It
So
really
much fun.
does rock. Yeah,
It does.
it rocks.
That was the criteria. They had to rock.
They had to rock. That was the only thing we had to go on, and it was
Yes.
very hard.
I think we did pretty good. We didn't really have any cheesy puns, did we? We were
We
pretty
didn't.
solid.
We
was
were
good.
very, very straightforward with this.
And I wasn't even trying to scale it back.
And as for me, everyone, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Geek Chic Lisa. That's GeekChic Lisa. And you can also visit our YouTube channel for the full playlist of songs, and all the articles we discuss can be found at galsguide.org. And we want to hear from you, so let us know your favorite gal songs using the hashtag #GalPoweredSongs. Thanks everyone for listening to Gal's Guide to the Galaxy.
For more exploration, including show notes and links, visit galsguide.org. Add your voice to the discussion on Twitter at Gals Guide Galaxy. Support our mission by becoming one of our Patreon members. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to Gals Guide to the Galaxy. Thank you for listening. Returning you to Earth in 3, 2, 1.